What's going on, everyone? I'm Encore. This is Tomorrow Never Comes. And honestly, I'm going to say this right up front. I don't feel the greatest because I just had some matcha, lactose-free matcha, and tasted amazing for the first three quarters, maybe even to the end. But man, afterwards, not the greatest feeling to be bringing up matcha back the way it came. So anyways, just thought I'd share that if you notice something a little bit different. I'm battling some matcha today. But today, what I want to get into was relationship with money, mindset with money, and how does this tie into crypto? So really, today is really just three main phrases I have, kind of what I've grown up with, what I've had in my head, and it's hard to break, and what they kind of mean and how that kind of figures in going into the crypto space, or I mean, financially, just period, but more so even into the crypto space. So let's just get right into it before this matcha starts to win this fight. So let's get me out of the way. All right. First and foremost, while on the surface, don't waste food or don't waste your food is a common phrase. And, there's many layers to this. So I want to make this clear that this isn't a cut and dry. If you say this is exactly what it means. Everyone's got their own perspective. Everyone's got their own upbringing and how this was kind of relayed to them. But this is my opinion on how things kind of flow out. All right. So don't waste your food. Now, on the surface, not so bad, right? Like, hey, look, whatever you put on your plate, you should eat it because there are those out there who don't have enough. That's typically what is said on the surface. But here is the deeper layer to that, in my opinion. Is don't waste your food means there's a scarcity mindset. Okay, you should feel guilty for having your full and then getting rid of the rest. Now you could say, you should feel guilty because there are those out there who have no food, and that's fair play. But I'm assuming where you live that there is no real shortage of food. So eating the entire thing, while you should probably monitor what you put on your plate and make sure it's not where you're wasting it or where you have to, not eat all of it. A lot of it has to do with scarcity mindset. And myself included, this is what I've always done, is you will pack it up, you will take it home, and you will stick it in the fridge for a couple of days. And you still won't throw it out because you're like, no, don't waste your food. That's a scarcity mindset. That plays into not just your food, but also money. And when you have that scarcity mindset, it really affects how you make decisions. It affects how you treat situations. If everything you are in is a don't waste your food type mentality, so I have to be really careful here. I can't make sure that there may not be another opportunity. There may be people out there who don't have an opportunity. You kind of focus on the scarcity aspect of it, and that's been me before in the past, and it never leads well. Never leads to anything that's going to 10x 100x not just your returns but your life. And this is one of the things that Grant Cardone really says as well, is don't waste your food and don't throw away your food and all that. And he really goes deep into that, and I'm 100% on that same track, that it's not so much the food aspect of it, it's the scarcity mindset that comes with it. So that's a pretty big one that I've heard and continue to hear. And there'll be people, and I used to be like this, who would just clean the plate. No matter how full you are, no matter how much you don't want to eat anymore, you will clean it because of this phrase. And that mindset leads into everything else. It just means hold on tight to whatever you have because there may not be something coming down the road. Okay, so that scarcity mindset sits in. And over the years, it gets deeper and deeper, and it kind of seeps into everything that you do. So having a scarcity mindset will never work long term. And then when you get into the crypto space, there is so much abundance, like everywhere, whether it's NFTs, whether it's in yield staking, swapping, like you name it, NFTs, it doesn't matter. There is a plethora of things that you can get into, you can profit from, or even just have fun. Okay, so having a scarcity mindset will not work. So that's one that you got to kind of monitor to see if that's what you're saying to yourself and those around you are saying. So number two, this one was always big for me. The wealthy are selfish and evil. Okay, it may be a little bit extreme, but this is really generally what is said and what is thought of. Being from South Asian descent, our movies are all based on good versus evil and rich, and that usually coincides with the rich being evil and the poor being the good guy or the good girl, right? And so that whole philosophy, that mindset seeps in here 100%. And you always hear that, hey, look, if someone got wealthy, they probably did something underhanded. They probably, cut somebody's throat metaphorically to get to where they are. And there is a certain level of competition and a demeanor that you see a lot of the wealthy have, because they're no nonsense. They've got their blinders on, they're focused, and they get what they want. But that does not make them evil, and the money does not make them selfish or evil. You can do whatever you want with the money. That money is a tool for you to use, just like a hammer is. Or you can do something good with it, you can do something bad with it. But the tool itself is nothing. So there's a lot of people who are not wealthy, who are poor, who are not the nicest people. Okay, so it does not work hand in hand. So this has been 100% something that's been embedded in my mind, whether that's consciously or subconsciously or both. It's there, and it's a pain in the butt to get rid of. But if you don't, that means you will never aspire to be wealthy. And if you're not wealthy, that means you don't have options. And that means you can't help in either, charities or individuals or other entities the way that you would like to. So the most common thing people say is, well, I would if I could, or I would do more if I had more. But that equates to you just need to generate the wealth and then do what you please. So if you want to do all the good in the world, build up your own wealth and then go ahead and use your options the way you so choose. Right? So again, that sits into crypto. If you think the wealthy are evil, you will play it that way. You won't take, the risks that are necessary. You won't be open-minded to things that may make you wealthy. Here's the thing, is that we like to sabotage ourselves. And we will do anything so that we aren't successful, which is kind of a trip, right? You would think in your mind, whether you say it out loud or not, you probably say, I wish I had, or I wish I could, or I'm going to get. And then when you're right there, when you can get it, you do something to sabotage yourself. This phrase, this mentality coincides with that sabotage. You will do this, you will think this, and then when you screw up the chance you had, the opportunity you had, you'll justify it and just say, well, listen, I didn't want to be wealthy anyway because I don't want to be selfish and evil, or I'm not looking out for me, I'm looking out for others. So all these things we kind of layer into, when the simplicity is we just sabotage ourselves. So this was this is an ongoing battle, right? Very, very a very significant quote or saying, I want to paraphrase it, has sat in my head, that make the money first and then debate if it's good or evil. And it's so simple, but it's so profound. We all like to debate, is this good, is this bad? I don't want to do it, they're evil. And no one's ever attained that level of wealth. So do it and then figure it out if it is what you thought it was. So that resonates with me. And last one here, if we can get this one, if you are of South Asian descent, this one is probably tattooed on your mind, if not physically on your body. This was a common phrase, I would say every day, maybe once a day, definitely once a day. At least it feels like it. Money does not grow on trees. And sometimes it was lighthearted, sometimes it was serious, but both times there was a ring of truth to it. Okay? And so what does that mean? Money doesn't grow on trees. Like if you're a kid and you're asking your parents for a toy, they'd be like, hey, listen, tone it down. Money doesn't grow on trees, right? Which is funny because money is paper and paper comes from trees. But hey, look, I tried to use that argument a few times and it did not go well with my parents. So I don't suggest anyone use that with their parents at all. But here's the thing. This right here will define everything that you do. because this is scarcity at its highest point. This mindset. Money doesn't grow on trees. Hold tight to what you got. Don't go out and do the thing that you want to do, the splurge that you have, because, you know, money's limited. You're not going to have it. If anything, you know, the Federal Reserve, the governments around the world, the central banks around the world have proven that money definitely is not scarce, because they will print and print as they so choose. But beyond that, the abundance mindset, like, I can't stress enough how important that is, because it's going to affect so many different decisions that may not even be financial. Okay, so this right here, if you can get rid of this one phrase, this one mindset, this one mentality, and all of it kind of wraps up into scarcity, right? Even if you want to be poor, that means that, you know, you welcome scarcity, and the evil wealthy person welcomes abundance, but look what they had to do to get it. So let's all hold on to scarcity. All three phrases pretty much are wrapped up into scarcity mindset. And if you have that, you will not attain whatever goals or successes you want. It's just not going to happen. So this one needs to be thrown out the most. This is the one that was repeated to me the most. And even I repeat it to myself the most. And it's not true. It's not true. There is a ton of money. And I don't mean just from printing. There are a ton of opportunities. There are a ton of money out there. There's an abundance of everything. Just if you're open to actually receive it and do the work to get it. So these three phrases I wanted to highlight. And this was kind of triggered by a peer of mine who did a video on relationship with money in a different tact. But it's very important, because if you're going to bring this mentality into crypto and you're seeing everyone hit all these gains, unless you get lucky, it's not going to happen to you. You won't flip that NFT for $20,000. You won't make the 1000x on some cryptocurrency. It's not going to happen, because you're always going to be with that scarcity mindset and holding tight. You got to take some risks. You got to go after the opportunity, and you got to put in the work. And I will say this, that if something does not play out, you cannot look back and say, see, I knew money wasn't for me, or money doesn't grow on trees, or I'm not meant to be wealthy. You got to move to the next opportunity and just roll. That's it. Next. Good or bad, no single decision is going to define you. No event is going to define you. It's this series of events or decisions that will actually define you. So listen, that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. This is a great reminder for me, and I wanted to share that with you in the process. So if you guys found some value in this video, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and make sure you guys remember tomorrow never comes, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys.